My name is Wes Inskeep. I work with Strategos Consulting. That wasn't me. I know how to throw my voice. That's another aspect of this kit. My name is Wes Inskeep. I work with Strategos Consulting. We have about 15 different tech clients and some very good friends in multiple industries. That's going to be really loud. So one of the clients that we don't have yet is good friends is Phokus Research. It's a seal-owned company out of San Diego. We really felt that this deserved an audience here at the Innovation Corner because it is such an innovative product. It's going to affect the quality of life for people who have to bring field medical kits with them and who have to possibly get shot for a living. And so we felt it was important to bring it to the attention of the folks in this forum. Over the course of many decades now that we've been providing combat care in the field, as Bill mentioned, combat care in the field has had huge, profound effects on the world around us as it results in improved survivability for all manner of trauma back home, from car wrecks to amputations, occupational injuries. Stuff that we learn in the field as soldiers definitely transfers. And after a long period of time of developing it, we found that we'd really settled on the right kind of kit to bring with you that you want no matter what. It's important to remember that phrase, that you want no matter what. These are the things that have to be there so you can render aid to yourself or others. And the IFAC, the individual first aid kit, is a perfect example of kind of a bare minimum that you want to bring with you. But it was kind of in the wrong spot. Over the course of time that it developed, it went into the one place that nobody really used, which was the small of your back. You couldn't easily access it, and you couldn't dig into it if you needed to. You didn't have to. If you're hurt, you're hurt. Somebody else is going to be doing the work for the most part. And well-meaning committees have argued at length regarding where specifically soldiers are going to wear devices that you intend to put on them. This is another challenge for real estate. Everybody needs a spot to put the new piece of gear, the tablet, the GPS. This is discussed at a pretty high level. And so any addition to their kit, any addition to the uniform has to find a home and it has to stay there. The challenge is that the soldier is the end integrator. The soldier is going to be the one that puts it where it needs to be. He may show it in inspection where it's supposed to be or where it's been instructed to be, but they're going to put it where they need it to on their gear that they're taking in the field. I'll say that again. The soldier is the integrator. They're going to put it where it fits. If it's in the wrong spot and they can't sit on it, if they can't maneuver their stuff with it, they will move it. And so then you lose the control. The other challenge is standardization. First aid and trauma kits are a little bit more rigid in that application. You'd like to be able to put it wherever you want, but unit SOPs dictate, standard operating procedures, dictate that they all are going to be in this one spot. Because remember what I touched on, that other people are going to be providing it to you because you're hurt. You are provided care with your first aid kit, not somebody else's. The medic doesn't show up, pull out his first aid kit and start treating you. He uses yours. And so it has to be in the same spot for everybody. That has to be known to the entire group of folks. And so they're going to have that standard operating procedure and mandate a standard location. The other thing is these kits are fielded over and over again, hopefully. If they are ever not fielded, it's because they were torn apart and a bullet hole was patched up. That means they have to be durable, but they aren't. They are generally specified as they're going to be this much gauze, this many pieces of tape, this type of an airway. You're going to need a blowout kit. You're going to need a combat wound dressing. And then that's the only specification. You throw it in a kit and you hope for the best, but none of those things are particularly durably packaged, certainly not as they come from the medical community. And so wear and tear tends to be the hardest factor. From my experience in the SEAL teams, we would seal meal them using commercial off-the-shelf food processing bags, and we'd vacuum seal them to try to keep moisture and everything else out, and then we'd wrap them with duct tape to try to give that seal meal a little bit more protection. Again, these are half measures for protecting your life in the event of a gunshot wound. And then inventory control, obviously, once you duct tape it up, is very difficult. Getting in and out of it is a complete pain, but everybody does it. And since you're not using that space, people tend to provide, they use it to put a lot of other stuff that you don't need in such as chapstick, sunscreen, things of that nature, that will actually destroy the contents from a medical perspective. And so Phokus developed a suite of very well packaged first aid kits. And it's not just a matter of what's in them, but it's a matter of the configuration that it's in. Do any of the three of you out there, have you seen a roll of Kerlix, of gauze that you would use to pack a wound? Well, it comes in a roll about the size of an ace bandage. You know what else comes in a roll about the size of an ace bandage? An ace bandage. And another thing that comes in is a combat wound dressing. They show up bulky, and you have to package them yourself, and you have to try to get this brick somewhere that you can live with it. And so the fundamental packaging that makes them sterile is also the thing that's hurting them the most. And so this was their solution. It's a heavyweight vinyl first aid kit, vacuum packed, and it's non-tamperable. You have to tear it to get into it, which means that from a leadership perspective, you know exactly what's in everybody's kit. You can know that if it's not altered and it's not tampered with, that you know what's in it. Additionally, the layout of the actual parts in it, for example, this outside one is a combat gauze. You get your 2 square feet of combat gauze, it's just not rolled up in a bundle. It's flattened out into a nice shape. The other interesting thing about this shape is it fits exactly in your body armor pouch, under your body armor. It's unutilized space that you can't pack anything else into, and as a result, you end up with a 3/4 inch thick medical kit that fits in a space that you're not using, doesn't impede you from sitting down, and you will actually keep it on your person. Additionally, if you are laid down as a trauma, everybody in your squad knows where to go get it because it's in the same place with everybody. And it's an unalterable kit. Nobody's screwed with it. Everything that's in there is supposed to be in there. You'll become good with it in training. Next thing you know, everybody's got their kits with them. Which I know there's people in the audience that understand the leadership challenge with that. They have 4 basic kits. The deployment trauma kit is this. It goes under your body armor. But in a lot of AOs, you don't need body armor all the time. And so they developed this, which fits perfectly in a cargo pouch. It's designed to fit in the cargo pouch of your BDUs or be strapped to your ruck. But it's the exact same kit in a slightly different format. They call that the low profile. The advanced vehicle trauma kit. Inside your Humvee, inside your Stryker, Bradley, you need a first aid kit. It's also usually fraught with the same exact problems that you'll have with the one that's on your person. It's been tampered with, pilfered. You don't know exactly what's in it. Is it contaminated, wet, you name it. This kit is designed to provide aid to somebody, not provide aid to you. So it contains some things that the other one doesn't. For example, it's got gloves, tourniquet, an occlusive dressing. It's designed for a blowout kit, and the occlusive dressing is not allowed to be carried in this, but it's able to be carried in this to render aid to somebody that is not you, or you put it in a combat medic kit of some sort, which is what this specifically is. And then the shield trauma kit is very similar to this, and it's just a much smaller package. It's much less complete. This, even in everything about this company so far has been extremely novel and innovative, and I'm a big fan of everything, but this is my favorite. When you have a combat medical kit, what you'll find is you'll find a bunch of little zippered pouches or loops that hold everything where it's supposed to be, because if you don't, it all yard sails into the bottom of your bag. And what once was organized isn't anymore. It's now a pile of stuff in the bottom of a bag, can't be inventoried, can't be carefully processed. This is a series of small kits that have Velcro on both sides, so they can stack into each other or be placed in the bottom of the kit right where it belongs. They have an airway kit, they have a bleeding kit, they've got a number of small triage packages that are part of a normal combat medic's bag. Probably have 3 or 4 of these. You'd be able to put one on each injury. So for a mass casualty event, for any type of a military vehicle that needs the ability to treat somebody on scene, that suppose you're the second vehicle to show up to an IED explosion. It's a phenomenal company run by good guys. I'm a big fan, and I believe it's one of the most innovative things that I've seen, and it's going to affect the lives of anybody who has to carry a first aid kit in the field. I'd love any questions you got about it.
Wes, I know that this is being used for the military as well, but could you use this in the civilian world in a hunting situation up in the mountains? Can it be packaged that way?
Absolutely. The question obviously was, can you use it in other applications, especially civilian outdoors? I would say that something like this has a near universal application. As I discussed with the company that I showed it to, this is something that'll go in my briefcase. The reason is it doesn't take up any space. I can brief it to somebody, I can show them very easily, where there's a lot of technology that just won't make the ride. Something like this really could be in the bottom of a motorcycle bag. It could be used with an adventure motorcycle to provide combat care for somebody who's just run off a road into a tree, which, by the way, has about the same appearance as getting shot because you're running into a tree. You know, lots of puncture wound opportunities, sucking chest wounds, same type of combat wounds that you'll find exist all over motorsport.
Well, I want to say as a hunter, I would love to be able to buy that kind of stuff. It just doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't, and it doesn't exist from subject matter experts, which is the most important thing for us. To a degree, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. There's been a lot of careful thought put into the placement of my remote. There's been a lot of careful thought put into where the stuff is coming from, how much of it you need. This has been well thought out and discussed with extremely smart people, namely I basically covered it on the way through. The deployment trauma kit, low visibility development, there was a slide that talked about the tactical casualty care. Can't remember the specific name of the outfit, but they make policy as to what will be in these types of kits. And all of that's in there. And it's better thought out than by your average EMT. Coming from a casualty care background, I was a firefighter before I became a SEAL. I know that I get asked all the time what should be in a first aid kit. And I get a little bit of, I don't know. I can imagine what's been in all of mine, but what am I actually going to use? What do you need on the spot? And hemostatic gauze, some tape, Curlix, basically this. But you got to know how to use it. You can't just start you can't throw this at somebody and patch a wound, so you still have to have some skill. But having a concise kit that's got the right stuff in it, if you know how to use it, I think is a really good starting point.